Welcome everyone to our fourth virtual session. It's wonderful to see many of the familiar faces and some new faces. At least one person is here from all the way from England. Yay for Michelle. And I want to thank Denise Krause, who's our technical person. Wave at everyone, Denise. And others helping today are Jen Lieber and Peggy Dean and Mary Beth Watt will be contributing, and our board president, Carolyn Jost, and Karen Vega Hinkle, our volunteer coordinator, is in there too. So we'll be just settling in here for a few moments, getting centered as we move into the next time together to gather some resources for this long march of COVID-19. First, we want to just take a few moments to check in with one another via a poll that Denise is going to put up here, just to check in on our well-being and where we're at lately. So Denise, if you could post the poll so that this is part of our helping one another, gathering together. And so if you would just take a moment to check any of these here that apply to you. How are you feeling lately? Feel has been something that we've worked with in these sessions. Just take a moment. What applies to you? Okay, how are we doing there? So Karen, can you share a little bit with us about that?
Yes, 54%.
Can't hear you there. Can you speak a little louder?
Sure. 54% feel peaceful and happy. That is really cool. 48% overeating comfort foods. 46% retreat to emotional comfort zones. 23% feel the physical discomfort. 23% feel confusion and insecurity. For 15%, the temper flares. 8% have lost sense of purpose. 8% feel tired and sleeping a lot, and 8% feel day-to-day monotony.
Thank you. I don't know about you folks, but I was one who said peaceful and happy, but also some of the others as well. And I think that's part of these times that we'll be exploring here together. So, and by the way, Karen is the person, if you have some technical questions or problems, if you'll type them into the chat function, which you should find at the bottom of your screen, if you have any questions or problems along the way, Karen will be assisting via chat with those kinds of issues. Okay? And okay, so just taking a nice breath, and I'd like to, as we enter this exploring the long march with the COVID-19, which is upon us, and as we gather the herd in our virtual field here to claim our resources for this time, I'd like to ask Peggy Dean if she will please call in the 7 directions. Peggy? If you could highlight Peggy, that would be good.
I had to unmute myself.
There you go.
Okay. Spirit of the East, of the yellow horses. This is a season of spring and a place of sunrise. We call you to bring your inspiration and creativity and hope for a new normal. Thank you for your illumination. Spirit of the South, of the red horses, season of summer and place of growth and harvest. We call you to bring your energy and strength and power to go the distance. Thank you for your warmth and connection. Spirit of the West, of the black horses, season of fall and place of preparation. We call you to bring your powers of introspection and wisdom to our gathering. Thank you for your insight. Spirit of the North, of the white horses, season of winter in a place of purification. We call you to bring your powers of renewal to our gathering. Thank you for your patience. Spirit above, of the mythical horses, place of spiritual influence and vast beyond. Please shine your light on this gathering as we claim resources to sustain us. Thank you for your compassion and love. Spirit below, of the horses we see and touch. May our connection with them root and ground us in our learning and sharing. Thank you for purpose. Spirit of the center, we honor our center as we bring our open hearts to the center of this gathering and the exploration of regression to recovery with heart and with wholeness.
Thank you, Peggy. One of the gifts that I have in my life is a number of poets, and Mary Beth Watt is with us today. She's, along with several others here, one of our Writing Beyond board members. And she shared this poem, which I've asked her to read for us today. Mary Beth? Is Mary Beth with us? Maybe she didn't make it on.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I was having some trouble unmuting because I had the poem up on my screen so I could read it, and Zoom problems. Anyway, I see that it's also on the screen here, so I'll just move the Zoom window out of the way and read it from there. This is a poem that I wrote recently based on my own feelings and how sometimes I deal with what's going on during the coronavirus quarantine. And it's basically a true story of how a typical day might go. So it's called A Hedgerow to Shield Me from the Wind. Hard to see the good in this 2020 vision. Call the quarantine a rest, if you will, though the unemployed may take a different view. Each day the news gives a count of the dead. Each night I go to sleep grasping elusive hopes. In the streets, depending on your beliefs, people stand up for promised ideals unfulfilled or riot in Marxist rebellion. Well, Marx, in his grave, laughs either way. I walk in a sunlit morning, my dog sensing the unrest in my heart. As we pass the field where the horses graze, I pause to give my dog a reassurance I don't feel, then take a moment to spot the two geldings, one black, one brown, who like to hide from me in a game they don't know we play. Oh, someone has dropped small mounds of hay along the far fence. The horses stand, each by a small hillock of feed, glancing briefly at us, letting us know they are aware. Often when I pass, I see them waiting near a yard where someone feeds them carrots at a certain time. Sometimes when we pass, they walk toward us, though aware of the dog, they keep a small distance. Still, recognition is in their soft eyes. They know this place. They know all of us who pass. They know what matters. The sun on their backs in summer, a hedgerow to stop the winter winds, a field of grass, fresh hay, passing friends, the comforts given freely by the day. My own thoughts seem to have taken a turn. My heart wants to join with the black horse and the brown horse in their quiet acceptance of the moment. My dog and I walk on in pensive silence. Worry recedes as the sun shines on my back, and the hedgerow shields me from the wind.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you so much. So, at Riding Beyond, many of our activities with our horses are based on what they offer us and also on what we can offer back to them. So we're going to watch, as we have previously with other gatherings like this, we're going to watch a video now, this one of a herd of wild Mustangs, and to notice their power, some of the harsh realities of the roundups that they live with, and reunions with their herd members, the details of their day-to-day life. As I begin to review what we've harvested these past weeks. Sky Dog Sanctuary is in Oregon, near Bend, Oregon. And it's a pretty inspiring video that we're going to post the link to it so that you can actually listen to the whole thing and hear the narration that goes with it. So in our first stay-at-home event here, we explored the heart breathing or coherent breathing. It's a riding beyond practice that we engage in to connect to ourselves and the horses and the larger world with an emphasis on interaction from the heart center. That's one of the gifts that we receive from the horses. One of many. During that first session, we heard words from Linda Kohana from her own battle with COVID-19 and how heart breathing helped her attend to the anxiety of not being able to breathe, as well as just generally helping her move through difficult days. We practiced heart breathing and imaginary travel quickly through the 40,000-year history of the horse-human relationship. In our second session, we explored how our interactions with horses can offer us radical resilience during these unusual times of the global pandemic. We concluded with a crowdsourced poem that we created, accompanied by creations that we gathered in the natural world. The title of the poem was, "If the Horses Can Keep Dancing, So Can I," and it finished with the words of, "Just now, just today, breathe. Resilience has always been embracing me, whether I knew it or not. Great muscular arms hold me strong as the haunches of a horse, ready to dance. An equine sense of being beneath my feet. Soothing, nourishing, exploring keeps me calm and energized, safe in the herd, steady as I go. They're seeing through the field." In June, we took as our context, the heartbreaking recent events around the world with the Black Lives Matter movement and the racial reckoning, which is going on now and certainly promises to continue. As we are forging our personal and organizational response to these matters, knowing that the first step is profound listening, Peggy Dean shared the process that she teaches coaches for working with clients through these steps. Listening, asking questions, acknowledging responses, and suggesting collaboration. The very steps that we share with our participants and their horses. Learning to listen, asking questions, acknowledging responses, suggesting collaboration with them. So now, let's fade from the video, and I encourage you to watch the conclusion of this. What we're seeing here is the beginning of the roundup, which is a hard thing to see sometimes. But this story has a happy ending, and encourage you to hear the story later. So Denise, if we could finish the video there, thank you. So today, we are in the middle of the heat of summer's hottest days, and the pandemic, instead of abating, has been rising, and we are recognizing the long march ahead of us. If you feel like things are regressing, you are not alone. Kathy Alm, who is the president of she's the executive director of PATH International, our professional association. She shared an analysis with therapeutic writing professionals recently, an analysis from the Harvard Business Review by Mariette Wedelsborg, executive advisor to senior level leaders and a clinical psychologist herself. Her article discusses the impact on staff in the business world, but I think you will too, that it applies to us as individuals in our lives, and it's helpful to think about. She presents 3 phases that we go through in these kinds of times. So Denise, if you could share that image there. The first one, there's emergency, regression, and recovery. These are the 3 phases of impact of long-term stress. So with the emergency phase, which is what we went through during the springtime, there's a sense of being energized and full of purpose. A sense of, here's what to do. There's lots of that going on the internet. And now we've moved into this next stage, which has more to do with operating in the day-to-day than the emergency phase did. That it's characterized by a sense of monotony. And it's actually more challenging. That monotony is more challenging than emergency. It's a phase that we often may want to avoid, but it's really important to move through it. The feelings of tiredness, a lost sense of purpose, flaring tempers. We may find a lack of self-care in either overeating or undereating, and find ourselves defending against confusion and insecurity that's pretty rampant wherever we might read. One of the things she points out is that in that facing confusion and insecurity, our mind reverts back to old behaviors to protect against confusion and insecurity, and often retreat to emotional comfort zones. It's a really uncomfortable phase that we may dip in and out of at this time. And then finally, we're eventually going to be moving toward recovery, where, and one of the things that she recommends in terms of moving towards recovery is to be flexible in resetting our daily structures and calibrating our emotions, much like we did at the beginning of our gathering, just kind of checking in with one another. And then aim beyond business as usual, that this is a passing time, and to aim towards that future time as we move through the monotony of this long march, you might say. So for us as individuals, we will explore today what we can learn from the horses about these things. And as we are forging the new normal while navigating this current reality, how can the horse's presence in our lives help us to stand present to and move through regression to recovery? This is a historical time for us to claim resources, to claim the gifts of our relationships with the horses that have aided us throughout history. They've guided us in numerous ways, as we explored in our first session, the past 40,000 years. Living here in Oregon, it's part of our history that horses got the first settlers here. There's still that sense of pioneer spirit. They helped us forge better communications with the Pony Express. You know the stories. Some of them may be personally important to you, like some of those are here. So at Riding Beyond, we explore in so many ways how these connections with the horses benefit us personally for our daily challenges and in the challenges of our time. We have a number of activities with the horses, just the greeting of the horse and connecting physically, hand to hide, and the fragrance of the horse, actually being on the horse's back in some cases, and having that interaction, that cross-species interaction with a horse that teaches us how to better communicate with others in our environment. It's like the larger framework of restoring a vital relationship with the whole natural world that has been lost to much of our societies in recent decades, and like the rise of the feminine gifts of the heart and wholeness that are being claimed in the workplace and in politics, in social interactions along much of its own that we've been aware of for many years. So let's together find effective guidance within and without ourselves to navigate the new frontiers that we are facing. What can the horses offer us as guides? As you watch and listen to these next few minutes, I ask you to sense into your own body's feel for what resources horses may offer you. We'll be taking some time to share your insights in small groups afterwards, so that our sharing develops that deep herd community on an energetic level that is such a powerful aspect of their being. We will share with the whole group after our small group gatherings. So let's just stay back to that previous image for a moment. Thank you, Denise. Seeing this image of Earth showing space, more than ever, we must recognize that our herd nature, our history-long connections throughout the centuries, point to the fact that we are all in this together. And we can move through the power of our herd members gathering. We are living into difficult times as a planet, as you see here. Michael Meade describes this as an age of intense violence, fake virtue, and rampant delusion. Plus, there is the coronavirus and the ongoing climate crisis. These are all global issues. He speaks of it that we have fallen out of one story and into another. The epic tales of progress and evolution and triumph and hope and freedom, that the stories of heroism and progress is one story. The other major story is its decline. The golden age falls into descending periods of disorder and loss of civility. So we've kind of fallen out of that progress story and into this old dark story of decline. In the Vedic traditions, that's called the Kali Yuga. It's the fourth of the 4 cycles that they see in their myths. And it's fraught with recklessness and selfishness that has led to so much strife. It's not a sudden fall, but more of a decline into darkness. He read a description of the ancient Vedic words about this Kali Yuga phase. And it was astonishing to hear how the words of those ancient texts sound just like a description of our newscasts. So how do we endure and find resiliency during an extended period of the dark times? People have two choices. They can find fresh resources or they can give up. Spiritual practices are at an all-time low historically among these times. The Vedic scriptures point to Krishna teaching that in these times to not even try to teach spiritual practices like meditation and prayer and yoga and that sort of thing. Instead, just teach being devout and nothing else. Finding something that you can commit to. This devoutness generates its own divine energy, and it sets seeds for the return of creation, a renewal of our earth, our soul journey affecting the earth's future, the earth's journey. We are each a part of the earth, even if we think we are something else. And if you don't know that, Michael says, just think about how you will know that when you return to the earth at the end of your life. So we are each born into our incarnated time with a unique genius that has something to offer the future of our planet's evolution. So we're going to explore resources for this from the horses, how they can enable us to take the long march. So horses as sources of power in the present moment. Thich Nhat Hanh, during the horror of the Vietnam War, when he was really astonished and depressed and really in a dark time in his country, he was deeply addressed by the simple preparation by one of his students who went about preparing food one day and arranging it in beauty for their nourishment. And he recognized then that the essential power of standing present to beauty in the day-to-day, creating beauty. And his words here speak to that. The present moment is the substance within which the future is made. Therefore, the best way to take care of the future is to take care of the present moment. What else can you do? And as you see this horse, hold back, hold on, come back, horse. There you go. If nothing else, when we have some time with a horse, as you can sense with this horse here, there is the opportunity to sink deeply into that present moment. The touch of his skin, the fragrance of the hide. It's a big part of its power is coming into that present moment that we can each practice each day. And then, now, the power that's available to us through the horses. They are potent partners in the web that connects us. To the next slide, if you would, please, Denise. We can see that power here in this image. It comes to us through stories, through movies, images. I've enjoyed watching a lot of movies this last few months. My two adult sons have been living with me, and my oldest son has access to just about any movie in the world through his European friends' servers. And we've watched, the one that delighted me the most was The Monkey King from China, subtitled, where the mythic, it's a wonderful series, Monkey King 1, 2, and 3. And they're always accompanied by a horse who occasionally transforms into a dragon. You look around you, you'll see images of horses who are with us. I have little statues throughout my home couple of behind me here, that their power is always available to us. And so next, we have the opportunity to explore our extended sensing. The horses are the ones who see and hear more than our usual senses offer us. If you're around a horse, they're constantly checking out the environment with their ears, the telescope, their eyes that are constantly picking up what's going on in the environment, the very sensitivity of their skin that picks up energetic shifts in the very breeze about us. And D.H. Lawrence's words come to mind. A fine wind is blowing a new direction of time. If only I let it bear me, carry me. If only it carry me. If only I am sensitive, subtle, oh delicate, a winged gift. Part of the words from his poem, Song of a Man Who Has Come Through, that it's that attuning our senses to the delicate signals of the fine wind blowing the new direction of time, that we can move ahead. And then finally, there is the return to the heart, which is really the core of so many of the things we do in Writing Beyond. The large heart of the horse, which has been scientifically validated for so many gifts to PTSD war veterans and our own participants, and really ourselves, our volunteers, our staff, everyone benefits from this. And these are words that Denise Krause wrote as part of her participation with Writing Beyond. And that's Peggy Dean there with Mystic in that picture. It's so easy to get caught up out there in the rough waves of a stormy sea, separated from our true selves, living in our heads, not enough in our hearts. My soul yearns for connection to a divine power greater than me. This strength, this power, this beauty can be found in many forms. Here is one now, my sister, four-legged, sensitive, strong, knowing, a sentient being. Her presence calls me home to myself. So, just taking a moment to breathe into some of these gifts that we have from the horses that we might harvest for this time. We're going to, Denise is going to gather us into groups of 3, and we'll have a total of 4 minutes together. We'll ask you to please address these questions and be succinct in your speaking so that everyone has a chance to speak. So what is it that you are devout about, or that you could be devout about, knowing that that refers to a commitment to some belief or principle or idea, and what are some of the gifts of the horses that you will claim for this long march, or that will claim you for this long march? So now let's take a few minutes to gather into our small groups. This is our first time to try this. And so let's see how it goes. Thank you, Denise.
Everyone's unmuted now. Welcome back.
There.
Interesting. That worked pretty well.
Trish is still muted.
Still muted.
Trish back.
Trish?
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So that was really great to gather with Jen and Patricia and to see how we all shared the vital connection with nature and really, you know, the harvest of you know, nature's sharing food with us at this time of this season. So I want to give us an opportunity for many of us to share here in just a moment. But I've asked Jen to first because Jen's out with her horses. So Jen, I think you are.
Well, I'm going to mute everybody and then we'll unmute Jen, okay? Oh.
Okay, I tried to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we
You can hear me. I'm sorry that I'm not with my horses. I'll try to run back out with them after I get done sharing, but I was having trouble keeping a connection with my internet out there.
Okay.
So hopefully you'll get to see them in the end. But thank you so much, Trish, for allowing me to share some of my personal stories. It keeps my whistle wetted and it helps me realize how much the horses do for me on a daily basis. So the story I've chosen to tell for you guys today is about our horse Boogie. If you've been on these calls before, you know that I've shared some stuff about him. This was last summer when he had first come to us and he hadn't been on the farm very long and we were having a camp. And so he, as a good gentleman horse, because he's like that, came to camp with us. And on this particular camp, sometimes we have kids that come that don't know each other at all. And sometimes we have kids that come together that are best friends or siblings. Usually the kids are pretty reserved on the first day, but on this first day, we had two girls come that were absolute best friends, and they were so excited to be together. What we normally do, here's a picture of them. What we normally do, my teaching partner, Chris Hoffman and I, is allow herd dynamics to actually help shape the energy of the herd, which includes the children. And on this day, we were in circle first gathering, and these girls were so excited. They couldn't sit, they couldn't be quiet. They were just pretty much beside themselves. And the other kids were pretty much just standing back and watching. And so we just kept breathing and going about our business. One of the first things we do is grooming. And so after circle, these two were, of course, picked to go and be with Mr. Boogie. That's who you see there in the picture. And their energy was just all over the pen until one of them noticed that he had flies on him, as we often do, in the summer. And the other one knew that if you just put your hand over the fly, like you're gonna point on top of the fly will move. And Boogie was so good at standing there, and he doesn't like flies. He's super sensitive. And so when those girls started taking turns, just making sure the flies stayed off of them, their energy just dropped down into the ground and they became soft and they just melted and his head came down. And before you know it, the whole energy of the farm had changed without us having to say, oh, girls, sit down. Oh, girls, be quiet. Oh, girls. And it was about empathy. It was totally, this is what the generosity of the horses teach me over and over again. And they teach it with such clarity and such honesty that if you get soft and grounded and balanced within yourself, connection is just the outpouring of that way of being. And then that ability to feel love just flows in. And as you can see by this picture, the girls were completely changed, their whole demeanor, who they were. And even though they were connecting together in those excited moments before, how they connected with themselves, each other, the horse, and the rest of the group became a totally heartfelt and shared experience. It was palatable. So thanks for letting me share my story.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jen. I love hearing your stories about what connects you to this work and to life in general. And so I'd like us all to,
Yeah.
I'd like to hear from other folks. Now, if you have I'd like to hear from others about what will guide you through this long march. What have you discovered here or along the way that will guide you? If you will share that, we want to take a few minutes of sharing. And so if you would like raise your hand, or you can raise it with the, if you open the participant list, you can click on a button that says raise hand, and Denise will be able to see. Denise, can you see people? Yeah, there I'm on the gallery view now. Denise will unmute you so that we don't have a lot of extra sound going on. So who will share a bit about what is going to sustain you on the long march? Carolyn.
So a couple of things that I appreciate about the horses and that are helping me during this time are, as you've talked about, just being grounded, being very aware of, my surroundings, and trying not to be too much in my head, worrying about everything that's going on. I've made it a practice of sitting outside in the morning with my coffee and just sitting and watching the birds and listening and being grateful. And the other thing is, it's really easy, as you know, I kind of live remotely, and it's really easy just to be here and not, not be connected, not go to town, so it's important to check in, as you said, check in with my herd, make sure, is there anything I can do to help, or, what support do I need during this time? And sometimes I forget that. It's really easy just to, sit up here and pretend none of this is really happening. So I appreciate that about the horses. I think that's really, really so important.
Thank you, Carolyn. One of my fond memories is, I think it was Denise and I riding back to where the horses are residing, and you came driving by and we chatted for a few minutes from horseback. How often does that get to happen? All right, someone else. What is it that's going to, someone else, will you share about what's going to sustain you during the long march? Yes, that person there, that's Marcia Friedman. Let's see, can you unmute Marcia?
Yeah.
There you go, Marcia.
And this is my first time here too. And Trish, you've been a favorite of mine ever since I read your first book, which taught me a lot. And the horses, and we're blessed to live with 13 horses, and one that I think just got pregnant. So we'll have 14, hopefully in 11 months. And they're just a gift that keeps on giving. And I feel so blessed that my life has taken me this path, that I have appreciation. I'm in gratitude a lot when I'm with or without the horses, knowing that I live on this farm, and that kind of isolated feeling too. But I do know what's going around us, and I feel very blessed to be able to be with the horses. And when I'm with them every day, they just take you to another place. They let me know that everything's going to be all right. And they just have, that's what the sense that I get from them, that their lives haven't changed. And they know to, like I said in my small group, to stay in the moment, because that's what we really know, the only thing we really know, and not get out of my head, and they remind me to come to them in peace and in love. I don't want to bring scary thoughts to them. I don't want to bring my worries to them. So they help me that way. They get me out of any type of that negative type of thinking at all. And so they are going to get me through it. They are definitely getting us through it.
Marcia. Marcia, where do you live?
I live in Costa Rica.
Oh my goodness. Wow, bravo. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Someone else, who Who else would like to share? Okay, there's somebody with their hand up. That's Pamela. There we go.
I feel that I just see all these blessings in this issue of the COVID and everything, because if the COVID wasn't going on right now, we wouldn't be doing this. And I wouldn't be getting to connect with all these beautiful horsewomen from literally around the world. And I've had a lot of cool connections as a result of these different Zooms that people are offering, and that never would have happened if it wasn't for the COVID. And I'm grateful for that part of it. I feel it's just beautiful.
So remaining in gratitude is such an important practice. Thank you for.
So that's what's sustaining me. You know, these new connections are sustaining me. I love it. Thank you for doing this.
And Pamela, where are you calling from?
North Dakota.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you. Someone else. What's going to sustain you? Hands up. Okay, there's Peggy Dean.
What has been sustaining me is something similar to Mary's poem, as she was talking about the horses getting used to having carrots or getting their hay at a certain time and so forth. I found in my little community here, we all go out at 7 p.m. to avoid the heat in the day. To walk our dogs is the excuse we use, but I think we all want to get out and not only be in nature, but to see each other, and even if we have to wave across the street. One person in particular that I love seeing every day is a woman named Julia. She was sitting in her yard and I waved at her and she said, "Hola." And I said, "Hola" back, and she came over closer to the fence and asked if I spoke Spanish, and I said very little. And she speaks very little English, but every day we have a few words and she shows me her beautiful flowers. So when I leave my front door, I'm always thinking, oh, in a few minutes I'm going to see Julia. And it's those connections that are sustaining to me.
Sweet. Un poquito, that's what I always say.
I say más o menos.
Más o menos, that's good, that's good. Thank you, Peggy. Someone else who would like to share with us? Yes, Angelisa.
Hi, everybody. So I've taken up 3 practices during this COVID sheltering at home time that are all very sustaining and just growing and opening for me. One is I've taken on a Zen meditation practice, which I've toyed with in the past, but this last 18 weeks, whatever it's been, I have been religious about it, and I'm feeling a wonderful unwinding and shedding of snake skins, I'll call it, just of typical ways of reacting to the world. They just are disappearing, and I'm much more open and even and calm and receptive to life. I've also taken up gardening for the first time in my life. And the other day I was just saying, what do I care about? And the answer was flowers. I really care about flowers. So I'm tending all these flowers all of a sudden and having a ball with it. And then the third thing I'm doing, which I will find very sustaining, is I'm starting to make things out of ceramic. And that, at first I didn't like the feeling. I've done it in college, but that's a long time ago. So I made my garage into an art studio. It's really cool down there. So it's really appealing to go down in the heat of the day and make something with my hands with this wonderful earth. And the other day I said, wow, I really like the way this feels on my hands. There's something about the minerals and the clay itself feels nurturing. Whereas at first it was like, oh, can I do it with gloves? Blah, 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 because it felt drying, but it's not. It's actually very nourishing to my skin. And I was surprised to find that. And the main thing is I'll be making beautiful things that I can use and pass on and give away, and who knows. And it's really
sweet.
Very fun.
Memoirs, little souvenirs at the time.
I'm signing them all, Anja 20. It's significant.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Well,
Anjali.
thank you.
Someone else. What are you going to claim? Or what are you claiming for sustaining you during this time? Yes, Ariella.
Well, I've got, I guess, 3 things. One is I've been joining a lot of Sufi Zoom classes and meditations, and I've been really missing that out of my life. And since I live near Wairika instead of Ashland, it's a whole lot easier to join on Zoom, even though I miss the in-person contact. Though I am singing with 2 different groups in people's backyards. So that's been nice. And my horse is keeping me in my body and grounded. And I actually got to ride the horse before the meeting today.
Oh, good for you.
By getting up 30 minutes earlier. And the other thing is my goats. They keep me really busy. I'm milking them twice a day, and I'm selling more goat milk this year than I've ever sold. So those 3 things are getting me through.
So I hope you don't mind if I tell you about yesterday.
That's fine.
Ariella was delivering her weekly half gallon of goat milk to me. And sometimes I'm not here, but I was, and I opened the door and said, hi. And she said, hey, you know, 20 years ago, you came back from India and you gave me a picture of Krishna, and it's on my refrigerator, I think you said?
No, it's on the wall, but it's on a piece of poster board instead, and it's never gotten framed.
Yeah, she was saying that, and my jaw dropped because I'm not kidding, 2 seconds before she walked up to the door, I was typing into my script Krishna's words about, you know, just asking people to be devout. And here she walks up and starts talking about Krishna. I said, and she says, maybe I need to come to that tomorrow. And I said, I think Krishna is inviting you. So I'm so glad that you came and joined us, because there is something very cosmic going on there. I mean, I've known Ariella for a very many years, obviously, and she's never mentioned Krishna before. So here we are, the web that connects us. Thank you, Ariella.
You're welcome.
Someone else. Let's have another couple of sharings if we can. We have just a few more minutes. Something that is going to sustain you in the long march that you are claiming. Patricia. Just a second, you're not unmuted quite yet. Let's see. All right.
There you go.
There we go.
Yay. So what's sustaining me is right now, and it's going to continue, is thinking about this call today. This was amazing. And I'm enjoying looking at Jen's horses there in the background. So sustaining of all these simple things in life, being in nature. And I'm going to really enjoy looking at that video that you shared with us earlier. So I just really feel my heart opening and being warm, being here with you all and thinking about this and feeling settled in. So that's going to sustain me for a while. And as many people have said, the Zoom calls have been amazing. I've connected with women, yes, from all over the world, often, like most every other day or something. So it's really great. And I appreciate being here with you all.
Thank you, Patricia. So good to see you again, to have you back in our web of connection. Yes, indeed. Yeah, nice to see where you live too. Goodness, that's real. That's right, that's not a virtual background. Yeah, nice. Wow, sweet. Someone else, thank you. What are you going to claim for sustaining you in the long march? Let's have one more. Come on. Who wants to be that one? Yes, there we go. Oh, Michelle. Michelle. So good to see you, dear. She's way on the other side of the pond.
Yeah, I am. I'm a long way away. Yes, what?
Can you get a little closer to your computer while
yes,
you're speaking?
of course. Okay,
Thank
can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah?
thank you.
Okay. I was just thinking about it because it's such a huge issue in a way for me. I feel like I've been getting ready for this for a very long time. I'm with my mother and I'm caring for her during this. And we're in really lockdown again because it's sparked up again, not in our area, but close by. And so my mother's in lockdown. She has to stay home. And so I've been home a lot with her. And I was thinking, it hasn't really bothered me that much. And maybe another would look at it differently, but I'm quite patient as a human being. And that's one quality that's always helped me. And I think I'm here for a reason. And it's to take care of her and to make sure she's safe. And it's something that I'm really loving to give. So it works out for me because even though I'm so far away from my own life, and I love to be in it, but I realize at this time, everybody's hidden away in a way, and it's okay. It's how it is. Maybe it's not okay, but it's just how it is. And I just think I've come into a huge acceptance in my life. And this has helped me just be more accepting of the present and what is present, and not worrying too much about anything else, because eventually it will change. It isn't changing for a while, but eventually it will change. So it's kind of philosophical, but I'm feeling quite centered in
I
spite of.
appreciate that. Your words and your voice really convey that acceptance and the peace that you have with it in these trying times. And you know that how long have you been over there caring for you?
I got here at the beginning of February, so I've been here, I think 7 months or 6 months.
Okay, I wasn't here when you actually left the U.S.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right.
I'm glad I got here because they've been really difficult with my mother, who had come out of hospital from a stroke. We made sure she came home until my sister and I could get here. And that was in December. I got here first and stayed through till early January. And then I went back to California and then came back again to relieve my sister.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're doing team tagging, but I'm taking up half the year. But I don't mind. I'm relaxed into it. This is what it is. This is what I have. And thank goodness for Zoom, and for this, I'm most grateful. I get to see you and say hello and be here with you and the horses. And I think the thing about horses is that I've always felt there's a presence about a horse and there's a strength about a horse that's enormous. And I think they're quite amazing. I grew up around horses. I don't have any presently, but I used to go to the horses all the time. And I remember this. I remember the adults around me were always frightened that I would get harmed or hurt or kicked or something. And I never thought that a horse would hurt me. And so when I went into what was the paddock with the horses, only the young ones seemed to be more frisky, but I was never afraid. So I think that's an interesting thing too. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else want to share before we move on? Let's take a moment to breathe in the wisdom that's been shared by each of us, that we've taken in our small groups. The sense of the herd that we are here today, and that in what ways we are connected to So I'd like you to take for a moment paper and a phrase that holds for you this past hour and post it on the chat. Out of this, like we did in one of our previous sessions. What you've taken in from this past time, and then pick a few of those words or the whole phrase, whatever, and post it in the chat room. And then I'm going to gather them and I'll send them out to you. And to help you be focused. For some reason, it hasn't come through on my end. Maybe it has for you. And we're going to take a pen. The title of our poem is going to be, "Like horses galloping to greatness, I will go the distance." So please write a few words about ensuring resources for yourself as we move toward the new horizons in the COVID-19 long march. And then share a few of those words in the Zoom chat. Okay, go ahead. Thank you, everyone. If you didn't get your words in there, feel free to do it as in the coming few minutes. So to further enhance our creativity with this crowdsourced creation with words, I'm going to give you some homework, if you will. The homework has to do with what resources are you going to claim to sustain you on the way. In this case, I'd like you to find an object. Maybe the object is a picture of some words. And maybe it's an item from nature, an animal, a totem. But find something that you could take a picture of and send to me. Okay, take a picture with your phone and send it to me by email. And then I'm going to create some kind of a creation. Here's what I'm going to take a picture of. You see, it's a little amulet sort of thing. It's not really an amulet, it's a, whatever this is. It's an item, it's an object of one of my favorite totems, the turtle, who has appeared to me quite a lot lately for the Long March. So if you would please, in the next 24 hours, take a picture of something in your environment that's going to stand for you, for the resources that you might need when you need it, when things are confusing or overwhelming. Something that's going to remind you of the resources that you have. And so we have a real treat here in a few minutes from the amazing singer Dave Stamey. I'll say a little bit more about him. He gave a concert here a few days ago that was like some pure piece of ecstasy for those of us who had an outdoor concert with social distancing and masking. It was just amazing. And but first, we have a message from Carolyn Jost, our Writing Beyond Board president. So Carolyn, could you take the stage here? Let's see. Let's get you on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi there.
Okay, hi. So I'd like to thank everybody for participating today. I hope you enjoyed your time here. I know I did. I enjoyed seeing a lot of new faces, a lot of familiar faces, and I hope you will join us again. Our ability to continue to serve you in this way depends on your support. My hope is, if you have enjoyed your time here and you feel that what we're doing is valuable to you and the community, that you will visit our website today and make a donation to help us continue our work. And if you're so inclined, invite friends and family to visit the website and learn more about what we do. The website is writingbeyond.org, and there's a button down at the lower end of the page for donations. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing your faces again.
Thank you, Carolyn. So, I heard about Dave Stamey through the person who won our raffle in, was that early June? Whenever Carolyn, I forget, Geiger won the raffle. She's from California. And it turns out she has a home here in Ashland where she's planning to move next summer. And she said she always plans her visits here when she can go see Dave Stamey. Dave Stamey is an award-winning cowboy poet and songwriter and performer. He's won numerous awards. And here he was in Talent, out on a farm in the shade about a week or so ago. So as we're going to listen to him send us out with a kind of blessing, one of his songs called May the Trail Rise Up to Greet You. And as you listen to this song, as we finish up our time here together, please feel free to post in the chat any comments you may have, any last words of farewell. And we so appreciate your being here today, and we look forward to being with you again in about a month at the end of August. Let's see Dave. There you go. And let's hear Dave. And that's not
May the trail rise up to greet you as you ride. May the stars reach down and touch you with their light. May the tumbleweeds at play keep you company by day, and the coyotes serenade you through the night. May no river be too rapid or too wide. May no mountain be too high for you to climb. May your pony serve you well and take you home to your corral. May the spirit of the prairie be your guide. Well, friends, don't let friends ride away without good wishes. Friends, don't let friends ride away without a song. A good wish or two may come in handy somewhere down the trail. So take mine with you now as you ride along. May you live a happy life on cowboy time. May the winds of change be gentle as you ride. Someday soon, I don't know when, we'll meet again, but until then, may the trail rise up to greet you as you ride. Don't let friends ride away without good wishes. Friends, don't let friends ride away without a song. A good wish or two may come in handy somewhere down the trail. Take mine with you now as you ride along. May you live a happy life on cowboy time. May the winds of change be gentle as you ride. Someday soon, don't know when, we'll meet again, but until then, may the trail rise up to greet you as you ride.
Thank you, everyone. Gallop to greatness.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, and thank you.
You're welcome.